Okay, a guide for the warrior fight. So I'm approaching from a different direction, don't worry about that. That's just because I'm using a save from a different route. The fight is the same. So we start off by just retreating back towards the ledge, and then we wait for the warrior to approach. Now while the warrior is approaching, he might move left or right. If he does this, then we need to follow up and also move in the same direction. This is because if we don't do this, then we'll end up attacking him diagonally, and eventually we'll want to push him off the ledge, and if we're attacking him diagonally, then we might accidentally push him into the corruption instead, and that doesn't actually kill him, so that's just gonna waste a ton of time. So if he moves to the side, we move to the same side. Anyway, so there's a line in the stone there, and we want to wait until he approaches that line, but we don't want him to get to that line. We want to just stop him when he gets to slightly before that line, and so about there. When he gets there, you want to do an Elika attack.
He hasn't escaped yet.
Okay, once you do the Elika attack, you want to mash jump, then mash grind, and then the grind will stop the combo, and then from that point on you want to mash sword. However, there are a few different ways the rest of the fight can go. So the first thing that can happen is when you mash sword, you'll just hit the warrior, and in that case, you just follow up with an Elika attack and keep mashing Elika until he gets knocked off the ledge, so like this. Now, a slightly different variant is when you do the same thing, but he blocks your first sword attack. In that case, you just parry him and then continue with the Elika attacks. Now, another thing that can happen is as you're mashing sword, the warrior will do like his shouting thing, and the prince will get knocked back. If that happens, stop mashing sword, press jump so that the prince slides towards him, and then hit him with your sword, and then follow up the rest of your attacks with Elika, so it looks like this. And of course, it's possible then that when you press sword, he'll block you, and in that case, once again, just parry him and then continue with the Elika attacks normally, and that covers every variant that this fight can go after you roll under the warrior. So one final thing that can happen is if you fail the Elika thing here and you do it too early, then the backup strat is to parry him and then do the same thing from that point on. The only problem is that that generally makes him go diagonal, and then you can knock him into the corruption, so the fight is not going to be consistent to that point. If you do this strat, it should work most of the time, but really you should try to just practice so that you can get the Elika attack on time. And for this fight here, you want to hold S and D on the keyboard and mash jump. You want to make sure you start doing this when you're still in the cutscene. And then you just want to do this for the rest of the fight. And that thing we did in the beginning by mashing jump out of the cutscene in that direction, for some reason glitches the area so that it doesn't fall apart so long as you stay near the ledge. So the rest of the fight is just gonna go like this. Now, one thing that can happen is if you go too far from the ledge and come back, you'll actually go out of bounds. And so you'll kind of... the platform will fall apart while you're on it. If that happens, just hold in any direction and just keep mashing jump, and the warrior should freeze and he shouldn't be able to reach you, and just keep mashing jump for the rest of the fight. Anyway, if you wander too far from the ledge, like I'll do now, it will start falling apart, and then it can get difficult to actually stay far away from the warrior. So the backup strat, which I'll show now, is to just walk up to a ledge, wait for him to come to you, then do not block. If you block, you can die. Even if you parry successfully, he can knock you out of bounds. And then you can die. Instead, just do this. Just wait for him to come to you, and wait for him to hit you, and then just mash and keep doing that.